Welcome to this video where I'm going to be recording a goggles training, an Abbot goggles training session with my guildies, and I thought I would just record this just to put it out there, and if there are people that are interested in learning how to do goggles, this is going to show many examples of how to practice with a friend or a guildie. I'm going to be moving my guildies around between a bunch of different tiles, talking about strategies for being an effective goggler, and how to communicate to your runner, etc. I'm actually recording this intro at the end of it all, and then I'm going to put this bit at the start. And so it's a really long video, and I just show like lots of different examples of moving people around and the things that a runner needs to learn, and then you know, again, strategies for practicing with your guildie. So what you can do, what's really neat about this is you can just come in here with you and a guildie. You can go into Abbot on normal. We're just on normal because we're not doing the regular raid for completion. We're just came in for practice. You jump in on normal. You beat the Abbot down to 70% health. He disappears, and now what you're going to do is you're going to then send your guildie, or maybe you're going to spot left first, because that's most likely going to be goggles. It's random, but left is quite often goggles. And you know, so you would spot left, and if it wasn't goggles, then you just die, and then that makes you appear back into the center, and you have your friend raise you, and then you go jump into a different DDO. And if that's not goggles, then you die just by jumping off into the water or jumping off of roids. Then you just repeat that until you get into goggles. You know, and once you get into the goggles, then you tell your friend to come in with you. So it's really easy for just two of you to come in on normal, beat the Abbot down, and you know, practice any puzzle that you want to do. It's a little bit more difficult to do roids with just two, but it can be done if you each pick up a stack of roids. But ice is totally doable too. I mean, that's all you need for ice. Goggles totally doable too. And the other thing that you want to know if you're going to try this yourself is that when you come into goggles, it's going to put you on a random side. So there's two different sides here. Just that's the right side, and this is the left side. And the left side will start with a set of goggles. There are two sets of goggles. So you know, this set of goggles lets you see the right side, and the other set of goggles, which is upstairs, is going to let you see this side. And I'm separated from them by that blue barrier, so I can't just jump over there. But I really want to underscore that when you first step into goggles, it puts you on a random side. And then every successive person that comes into goggles gets put on an alternate side. So if you first come in, you know, you're the spotter, and maybe you wanted to have the goggles first, and if you ended up on the other side, like if you came in here and you were over there, you weren't on the side with the goggles, but you wanted to be on the side of the goggles, what you would have to do is then just jump off and die, have them raise you, and then go right back into goggles. And the second time you come in, it will put you over here, because like I said, it alternates which side. Every successive person that comes in gets put on the opposite side of the previous person, but the first person that comes in will be on a random side. Alright, I hope you enjoy watching this Abbot goggles training session. So here I am doing goggles training with my guildies. I thought I'd record it, just maybe I'll be able to produce something useful out of this. You know, if nothing else, it could just be an example of showing folks how goggles works. And so
it's 180, right?
Yep. So Twizzer and Lemuria are both learning goggles. Twizzer is has already had a few lessons, so she's actually pretty good at being led across, but is still learning leading other people across. And Lemuria is much newer to this, so we're going to be going over some of the basics with her. So if you are newer to goggles, you know, I do have an Abbot training run posted with all the puzzles explained, so that's a good resource. But you know, if you've never been in goggles before, you know, this is basically the way this works.
The first one, the goggle person is on the downstairs, and the second one, they're upstairs. Is that correct?
That is correct. So as the goggler, it's my job to lead them across this field of tiles to the other side. And they can't see those tiles. I can only see them because I have these goggles that were in the puzzle, and I'm separated from them by this blue barrier, so I can't just like, go over there and give them the goggles so they can see. So this is what they see. They see a big field of nothing, and when you're new to goggles, it's terrifying. And so one of the things I try to do is to just, try to calm people down, like it's just a game, it's just pixels, nobody's going to die in real life if they fall in goggles. But inevitably people are nervous, and it's understandable. This is a puzzle about trust, and most importantly it's a puzzle about giving clear instructions and following those instructions. As the goggler, like I said, I have to lead them across, so it's my job to give them crystal clear instructions of what is expected of them to do, and then they have to just do what I say. So being the goggler is the much harder job, but being the runner is definitely a skill to learn. Learning to follow those instructions, and I think it's good to sort of master being led across, or at least develop a solid level of competency before you start trying to lead others across. That's just my recommendation for somebody who's looking to learn this job, for the long haul. And so you've got a field of tiles here. It's 4 rows wide and 12.5 tiles long. And you can see they're phasing in and out. And depending on your color settings, these tiles that are phasing in and out may appear greenish or white, and then they turn red as they're phasing out. You can see it's turning red there, and then it phases out. They phase at a regular pattern, so they're always phased in for 8 or 10 seconds. I'm not sure what it is, and then they start to turn red and they're phased out for like 3 seconds. And it's always that. It's in for 10, phasing out for 3, back in for 10, phasing out. So that's a regular pattern, the way that they're blinking in and out. What also, I didn't know this for years, I've been doing goggles for years, is that every instance is the same. The pattern of the puzzle is exactly the same. Okay, what's different is the number of blue tiles and the position of those blue tiles. So the blue tiles, you can see, are static. They're not phasing in and out. And so those are like safe spots, and their locations are random, and the number of them are random. I've seen as many as 12.5. I have seen 0. So, in this case, I've got 3 blue tiles there and 3 more over here. 6 blue tiles is really solid. Unfortunately, there are 3 at the beginning and 3 at the end, and so there's a big space in between. The blue tiles can be really helpful to getting people across, and then it's sort of a safe place to get them to rest, and then to figure out a pattern from there. As opposed to if you have no blue tiles, then there's no resting point. You got to figure out a pattern to get them all the way across. When you're new to this, it's easy to get caught up on thinking I have to get people to a blue tile, and that's part of it. But don't lose sight of the fact that the object of this puzzle is to lead them all the way across to the other side. The blue tiles are there to help and may be helpful, but may not necessarily be helpful. So for example, I have these 3 blues here to work with, but it might be the case that row 1 here, right in front of me, is the better row, and I might not use those blues at all. So don't necessarily think like, oh, there's a blue in row 4, therefore that's the row I'm going to go with. You definitely want to look at all the rows. Just doing a little bit of a narration for the video, and I'm going to start leading you girls across in a minute. Sorry for the delay. And so, okay, where was I? Australia. So, what we're going to be doing is a method called the mirror method, and that means they're going to be mirroring my movements. So, once we start, they're going to be doing everything that I'm doing. They're facing this blue barrier, they're facing me, and like as I move, they'll move. So I might say go, and then they'll follow me to this blue, and then whatever the pattern is for the rest of the way, we might stop here, and then we'll run over some more, and then stop here. Whatever the puzzle is, whatever the pattern is, they're going to be staying lined up with me the whole time, and I'll talk them through it, and I'll let them know what the pattern's going to be, so they have an idea of approximately how far they're going to move. But the mirror method means they're staying with me the whole time. Now there is also a sort of a modified version of the mirror method, and that is where I move to a fixed spot and then just tell them to go to me. So for example, this blue in row 3 is just 2 tiles out. I could just stand here and say, when I say go, you're going to run over and line up with me. And that would be fine, and that's a very good method to use, and is especially valuable when it's just a one shot. So in this case, it's a single move, 2 tiles over to a blue, and then they stop. But if it was multiple moves, that becomes a little bit trickier. So, if I was out here and just, for example, I say, okay, if I were to say, go to me when I say go, and then move, and then go to me when I say, that gets a little trickier. And I think if it's not a single move, in other words, we have to move to one point and then continue on without a safe spot, it's better to use the more traditional mirror method where they stay lined up with me the whole time. And so they're going to be like I said, they're facing the blue barrier, and they actually have their location set so that they're facing due south. And so if you have never worked with your location before, if you type /LOC, you see you get a bunch of numbers here, and this is your coordinates in the game world. So if you ever to report a stuck spot, they would ask you what's your location. This is how you get it. You type /LOC, you give them these numbers, and that way the game developers know exactly where you are in the DDO game world with these numbers. But we don't care about most of those numbers. The only number we care about is the H number, and it's the last one in the sequence here. You can see mine says H1.4. And the H number is like a circle. It's the way you're facing. It's 360 degrees like a circle. So, if I were to turn around, it's 180 degrees change from this direction. And so you want to get your H number, your location, your facing direction to be perfectly, in their case, perfectly south. They're facing the blue barrier, and so they're looking for an H number that is H180.0. So I'll face south, and I'll type /LOC, and you can see I'm at H181.4 or 181.4 degrees. So I want to just adjust a tiny bit. Type /LOC. Now I went back the other way too much. H178.6. I'm going to go back a little bit. /LOC again. Now it's H180.0. At that point, I'm no longer going to rotate. I'm only going to be strafing, sidestepping. That's if I was the runner. So in other words, that's what they're going to do. Once they get their H number set, they're only going to be strafing side to side, and they're going to be staying with me, mirroring my movements, moving when I move, stopping when I stop. Again, once I tell them. So get your H, and then no more rotating. You're only strafing side to side. You might not be, maybe you don't strafe as part of your regular playing. And so you might not even realize that was an option, or maybe you don't have the keys set up. For me, it's Q and E. For some people, it's A and D. Maybe you have the mouse button set up to strafe, whatever it is. The mouse button can be a little trickier, though, because it's easy to slip into mouse look mode and rotate a little bit. And if your H number, if you rotate a little bit, then that can start making you run askew. So an important point here is that the reason why you're getting that H number set to an exact number, in this case 180.0 for them, is so that once they start moving, they don't drift forward or backwards in the row. I start them off in the center of the row. Now they're only strafing if they have their loc set properly, they will stay perfectly centered in that row. They won't drift forward or backwards. If they were to say not have their H numbers set perfectly, maybe they were just, 'cause some people are just like, oh, it's close enough. But if you're off by a couple, 2 or 3 degrees, by the time you get to the end, the middle or the end of the puzzle, you could have drifted forward or backwards so much that you could fall right off the front or back edge of the tile or the row. Thank you again for your patience. I'm ready to start leading you girls across. Little Mama, La Maria, you've been in Goggles before, right?
Yeah, I've crossed once, maybe twice, following with Soulmate.
Okay.
So I've followed.
Twizzler, would you mind if I took a few minutes to move her around a little bit? If you want to maybe take a break to get a drink or something?
Not at all. That's a great idea.
Okay, cool. So when you're doing training runs, if you have some blues to work with, those are really great to just sort of move people around to get used to being led across, to get used to taking, to get used to following instructions, and for you to build up, ideally, maybe in your guild you'll have one or two people that are like your gogglers, and you will develop a sort of a system with them and a level of trust, uh, and so, like I said, you need to be able to communicate effectively. You need to be able to communicate exactly what the person needs to do, and then that person needs to follow those instructions perfectly. So what I'm going to do now is just take a few minutes to move Lemuria around on these blue tiles. But before that, one of the earlier skills that you want to learn is being able to move between rows, because remember, they can't see that. They can't see anything here. Remember, this is what they see. They see nothing. And for people who are new to goggles, it can be terrifying. I mean, I remember being out there as a newbie, like my palms are sweating so much, like my fingers are slipping off the keys because I'm sweating so nervous, It's just, you're all tensed up.
I get nervous because I don't know what I'm doing.
And she's just talking about how nervous she is right now. It's funny that you said that, because I was just talking on the video about how people who are new to this will be very nervous. And so that was very timely of you to say that.
Because I am.
I totally understand that, and one of the things that I want to say is that it's just a video game. These are just pixels. If you fall, you're not going to die in real life. There's nobody here waiting on us. We don't have wits. We're not doing a regular raid, so the rest of the guild isn't waiting us on anything. So we got all the time in the world. There's no rush, and there aren't any truly dire consequences here. And this is just a learning moment. That's all we're doing here, is we're just practicing. So whatever happens, it's all about this being a learning experience. What I want you to do right now, Lemuria, is just take a minute to get comfortable with the space that's between rows. So you know that you're on row 3 right now, and what I want you to do is move forward to row 2. And so you can see the marker for row 3 is this seam right there, and the marker for row 2 is this seam right here. The marker for row 1 is the front edge of this notch, this V-shaped notch. And this is solid, by the way. They won't fall through that. It looks like they would fall through, but they won't.
I'm at the line.
Yep, you're perfect. And then the marker for row 4 isn't a really good one. It's just basically the same distance back from row 2 to 3 as it is to row 3 to 4. But one semi-decent marker is just in front of the second pillar there. So look right out here. What I want you to do is take a few seconds, take 30 seconds or a minute, to get comfortable with the distance between rows. So I want you're at the starting platform. You've got solid markers, those seams between, the tiles there. I want you to move back and forth between those two seams, between row 2 and 3, and I want you to commit that distance to memory as best as you can. So just go ahead right now, just move back and forth. Move back to row 3. Go ahead, move back to row 3. Don't worry about getting your bloke perfect. Now move forward to row 2, and I want you to keep doing that. I want you to do that. I want you to spend 30 seconds or a minute doing that, just back and forth. And use whatever sort of memory mechanism that you have to do in your head to commit that distance to memory. So for me, for example, when I'm doing it, I do a little count in my head. So like if I'm moving forward, it's 1, 2. It's a quick 2 count. If I'm moving backwards, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3. So that's what, when we're doing the Abbot raid in our guild, that's what I'm saying to myself in my head when we're doing goggles and I'm having to move between rows. But whatever, again, whatever memory mechanism you have to do to get comfortable, and you don't have to be perfect. As long as you're close, it's going to be good enough. Some people like to tumble twice. Boom, boom. Tumbling twice is like the perfect distance. The problem is that tumbling is a
little variation on this tune compared to my last one, because the size difference of the tune itself?
And your running speed. You know, if you're hasted, if you're on a PDK, which has a faster base movement, or a monk or something, yeah, that can make a difference. So, you know, whatever you have to do to get used to that. Tumbling is a little bit slower. You know, so if you're out there and you got to make adjustments on the fly, and maybe it's a tighter puzzle.
So for this one, it's 2 big counts forward and 2.5 back.
That's perfect. Whatever you got to do. You know, you don't always have a lot of time as the runner, so, you know, I don't like to do the tumbling thing because it, like I said, that can take an extra, even a half a second, and sometimes that can make the difference.
Does it matter where I stand for a starting point on this platform?
Like how close towards the edge?
Yes.
No, as long as you're reasonably towards the edge, that's fine. So like where you are right now is fine. You probably wouldn't want to be so far over like Twizzer. But, you know, if you're within a body length of the edge, that's fine. So...
Okay, now...
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry. Now that I've practiced that part, I set myself to the H10, or 180, H180.
Yep. Twizzer, let me know when you're back. When you get your H set, let me know.
I'm back.
All right. Twizzer, Lemuria, I want you to stay right there. Twizzer, when I tell you to, I want you to come over 2 to me. Twizzer's a pretty experienced runner now. I've spent...
In this row.
Yep. So she knows what she's doing. She's good at following instructions, and she knows exactly what to do. I've already probably spent about 5 hours with her.
Okay.
Just one-on-one. All right. Twizzer only. I'm going to let it cycle. When I tell you to, you're just going to go over 2 to me, okay?
All right.
Just phased out. Get ready. Go 2. Great. I want you to line up with the pillar. The pillar is the center. And I want you to move forward to row 2. It's blue there.
Right now?
Yep.
Okay.
Great. I want you to, you're on the front third of the tile, so I want you to take a big step back. Half step back. So a minute ago when I was explaining to Lemuria, you don't have to be perfect. You see, like, she overshot it, but she didn't overshoot it so much that she went off the front edge. She was close enough. And, you know, we had plenty of time to adjust. I mean, it's another blue. But even if it wasn't another blue and I had to move her over some, you know, the next blue we get to or something, we could adjust. Or even if there was no more blues, as long as she's on that tile, it's fine. So one of the caveats here is, you know, sometimes the middle of the tile, and you generally want to get your runner to the middle of the tile, sometimes that's going to be where the pillar is. So I would recommend that as the Goggler, you're on one side or the other. You don't want to be hidden back here where they can't see you. Some people will do that. It's really irritating. There's always going to be one side or the other you can go to, and if it puts you, you know, sort of at the edge, you just want to communicate to your runner, like, you know, go to me, but don't go past me because I'm at the far edge. You know, let them know, like, the pillar's the middle or something like that if it's going to be close, because people can easily overshoot you and run off the other side. You ready, little mama?
Yes.
So when I tell you to, you're going to go over 2 to, and that'll put you on a blue. But I just want to emphasize, like, Twizzer's in row 2, you're in row 3. There are blues, you know, right next to each other, so I just don't want you to think that you're supposed to be going to Twizzer. You will be lined up with her, but you'll be in the row behind her, okay?
Okay.
Alright, it's phasing out now. Get ready. Go. Great. Now what I want you to do, actually I want you both to take a half step toward the end. I just want to get you centered in that tile. Both of you take a half step toward the end.
Toward.
What
What is
is
that
end?
for
Left,
the end?
right, forward, back?
Like that, like I'm trying to lead you across to the end of the puzzle. So basically I want you to line up with the middle of the pillar. there you go. So what I want, now that I have you both standing out in a void that you can't see, little mama, I want you to take another minute to do what we just did where you were on the starting platform moving between rows, but I want you to do that here. You're on a blue, she's on a blue, just move back and forth. Now, you're not going to fall if you go to her, but when you go back, if you go way too far, you could fall off the back edge. So just make sure you don't go too far. But I want you to move back and forth right now. Just do it a couple times. And then if you start getting too far off, I'll readjust you. In fact, just do it once. Just go to her and then straight back to where you are now. So this is what they see. So she's out there working in the blind, and she has to trust what I tell her. Because she can't see. Like, that's the freaky thing. Like, when you're new to goggles and you're...
One more time?
Yeah, do it again. When you're new to goggles, you can sort of, you're like, oh, I can see it. So, you just sort of feel like they can see it too. Or you have to, the point is, you have to really, really appreciate that they can't see it. They're totally working in the blind, and they are 100% reliant, dependent on you to give them good instructions. Okay, you are centered where you're at. I want you to go ahead and do it again. Move forward and then back. Great, do it again. I want you to do it about 3 or 4 times. It's very important that you get comfortable with this distance. Ideally we won't have to move between rows when we're doing this in an actual raid environment, but sometimes we have to, and it's important for a runner to have that competency of and that comfort of moving between rows. It's a little bit more advanced, but that's a skill you need to develop as a runner. Okay, you're a little bit too far back there. You're on the back third of the tile. Now you're centered. Go ahead and do it again. One of the really weird caveats or quirks of this puzzle is that you want to avoid having your runners... Go ahead and do it a few more times. You want to avoid having your runners on this dark border. See how there's a dark border around this tile? Every tile has a dark border. If your runner starts on that, like let's say I had... Twizzler, are you there?
Yes.
I want you to very carefully line up with me. Do not go past me. I want to take you to the edge because I want to explain something on the video. I want to put you on that dark border, but do not go past me. Be very, very careful. Just tiptoe over a little bit more. Okay, don't move. You are on the dark border right now. If your runner starts on that dark border, like if she's resting there right now, we were to start from this position, even if a single pixel of her little toe was on this dark border, I could move her over to that tile if it was totally phased in, and she'll fall right through it. I don't know why. Bad coding, whatever. Maybe I'll try to demonstrate that, but not right now. So the point is, don't ever start your runner from the dark border. Go ahead and line back up in the middle of the tile, in front of the pillar. Okay. Don't move. There is another blue tile in row 4 that is diagonally from you, Lemuria. So it's over 1 and back 1. Don't move. I'm just explaining to you that it is over 1 and back 1 from you. So when I tell you to, what your move is going to be, you're going to go over 1 to me, and then immediately back 1 to a blue, okay?
Okay.
So she's got me as an anchor. She can see me. What she's going to do when I say go, she's just going to move over until she's lined up with me, and then immediately go back 1 to the blue. It can be difficult to see people, especially if they have dark armor, so it can be valuable to take your armor off, for example. If you're wearing dark armor like the shadow scale, doing something like giving yourself blur or displacement, or like the red fire shield to light you up is really good. You don't want to use the blue one because the blue barrier, you sort of blend in with the blue barrier if you do the blue fire shield, but the red fire shield makes you stand out pretty well. You ready, Lemuria?
Yes.
Go. Go over one to me and immediately back one to a blue. Great. You're perfectly centered. That was awesome. So, if this, in a practice environment, I would have liked to have had, 2 or 3 blues that were sort of, in this first half, and that way I could practice moving them around. But here I don't really have, I have 3 blues is nice. I can do little moves, but I don't really have a lot of variety that I can do. Don't move. So if you're new with a goggler and a runner, you want to make sure that you say don't move. Because otherwise, if you move, they might think they're supposed to move with you. So you want to be clear. Like in this situation, Lemuria is very new to this. If I didn't say don't move, she might think that she's supposed to move with me. And ambiguity is the death of you in goggles. You cannot have even an inkling of ambiguity. Like I said at the start,
I have a question.
this is an exercise in giving clear instructions and following those instructions. What's your question?
If at any point, it hasn't happened, I accidentally move my mouse at any square, do I check my location and it's going to be H180 at any point on the puzzle?
Yes, so your H number is just your facing direction. It's like a circle, 360 degrees. It doesn't matter where you are. 180.0 will always mean that you're facing due south. Doesn't matter where you are in DDO, what raid, what quest, public zone. H180.0 always means you're facing due south.
So that helps me keep my linear straight.
What that helps you to do is that, so when you're strafing down the row, you don't drift forward or backwards and fall off the front edge or the back edge of the row. It keeps you where you're supposed to be in the row. That's the point of it. So if you ever to lose your location,
I can check that at any.
yeah, you can get it again at any point, but you don't want to do it on the fly. You would only want to get your location again if you were on a blue, because because these tiles are phasing in and out, you don't have time to, if you lose your loc, you just have to do the best you can if it's in the middle of a move. But once you get to a blue,
Right.
then you can, if you need to get your location again.
Double check
Yeah.
yourself.
And as long as you didn't rotate, as long as you're just using your strafing keys, you shouldn't lose your loc. Okay, what I want you to do now, Lemuria, when I tell you to, you're going to come over one to me, back toward the start. So this is, Twizzler and I were talking about this last run. When you use a term like over, what does that mean? It's ambiguous. Well, in goggles, usually when you say go over 2 or whatever, go over 1, usually that's going to mean toward the end. But because we're doing a training session here, I'm going to be moving you back toward the beginning just to take advantage of these blues and moving you between blues just to practice. So in this instance, you're going to go over 1 to me, so that's over 1 back toward the start, and then immediately forward 1 to a blue. So I'm taking you back to that blue that you started from. Okay?
Okay.
So it'll be, not yet, it'll be over 1 to line up with me, and then immediately forward 1. You ready?
Yep.
Go over 1 now, and then immediately forward 1 to a blue. Great. Take a half step back. Usually try to get your runner center. If they're anywhere in this center, you can see the tile is broken up into a 3x3 grid. If they're anywhere in this center grid, that's good enough. But generally speaking, that's where you want to start your runners from. Twizzler, you ready to be an example?
Sure, good or bad.
Good. Okay, don't move. When I tell you to, you're going to come over 1 to me and then immediately go back to a blue. So it's going to be over 1 and back 2, okay?
Over 1, back 2.
No pausing. You ready?
Yes.
Okay, they're phasing out. Get ready. Go. You see that? She just moved back 2. She's in the blind. Remember, that's what she sees. And she went back 2. And she nailed it. And she did. Well, it wasn't perfect. You know, she's still learning, but she's close enough. She's on that blue. The point is, like, you can do that. Like that, it's a little bit more advanced. But if you spend some time working with your Goggler, like I said, I've spent hours with her already, and she's doing awesome. She's really good at being the runner, and then now we're just trying to perfect her skills at leading people across. Take a step back. You're on the sort of the front third. Twizzer only. Sorry. Another half step back. Great. Stay there. Don't move. Lemuria, I'm going to move you back and forth again. There's a blue in front of you, so now with this time without Twizzer as your anchor. See, before you had her, and you knew exactly where to run to. And she was like your little binky. She was like your safety blanket. Now, you don't have. I'm taking away your safety blanket, and so you're going to use whatever memory trick to move forward. But you're on a blue, and there's a blue in front of you. So all I want you to do right now is just move 1 forward. Right now, move forward 1 tile. Way too far. You're on the very front edge of that tile. There you go. You're centered now. That's good. Now I want you to go back to row 3. Go back 1 now. So I'm just going to move her back and forth because I want her to commit this distance to memory. A little too far, half step forward. And each time I'm going to get her in the center. Go forward 1 now. You remember doing this, Twizzer?
Oh, yeah.
Take a step back, Lemuria. I was just doing this with Twizzer just last week. Okay, you're centered. Go ahead and move back to row 3. See, Twizzer, now you can watch her and laugh. Like, I remember when I was doing that.
No laughing. I'm still holding my breath.
That's awesome. Okay, you take a half step forward, little mama. Great. Go ahead and move forward 1 now. Take a step back. You're on the front third of that tile. Take a half step forward. Okay, you're centered. Go ahead and move back to row 3 now. Okay, you overshot it. I want you to take a step forward. You're on the back third of that tile. You're still on the blue, and so it's close enough. Like if this was an actual situation, that would have been close enough. But right now I'm just trying to perfect your ability to move between rows as much as reasonably possible, or at least as much as it takes to build up a basic level of competency so that you can move between rows when needed. You are centered now. Go ahead and move forward to row 2. Great. Go ahead and move back to row 3. Great. Move forward to row 2. You overshot it a little bit. You're on the front third. Take a step back. Okay. Move back to row 3. Perfect. Move forward to row 2. You're on the front third. Take a step back. Great. Move back to row 3. Great. Take a half step forward. Move forward to row 2. Move forward 1 to row 2. Okay, you overshot it by a little bit and take a step back. Great, you're centered. Now go back to row 3. Good. Take a half step forward. There you go, you're centered. So again, just working, getting comfortable with that distance between rows, and that's all I'm going to do with her there. And like I said at the start of this video, like I thought I'd just record it so you can sort of see this stuff, like see how people are practicing it, see how this puzzle works. You know, like if you're new to Goggles and you want to learn it, just the more times you watch others do it and the more times you do it yourself, I mean, the better you're going to get. And so this is going to, give you an understanding of how it works and how to communicate with each other in Goggles. Okay, Lemuria, when I tell you to, you're going to go over 1 to me and immediately back 1 to Twizzer, okay? Go. Go over 1. Immediately back 1. Another important thing is to make sure that your runner understands your sort of trigger word. You want to make sure that they don't go before you want them to, so you want to make sure you say things like, when I say go, this is what you will do, and then say go. Make sure that they because again, ambiguity is bad. If you start talking and you say, and you didn't make it clear, like, oh, I didn't mean for you to go yet, and then they go, and then they fall, and then they die, and they fall, they die, and then they're back into the center platform. There's no way to get back in here. All right. Don't move. When I say go, you're going to go over 1 to me and immediately forward 1 to a blue, okay?
For me?
Yes, so it's going to be just getting you back to that blue you were just on. Get ready. Go over 1 now.
Sorry. Oh.
No, don't move. Don't move. Don't move. Stay right there. You're on a blue, so if, I was rushing you a little bit, and I did that on purpose. If you're ever not sure what to do, if you're on the starting platform or you're on a blue, just wait. There's no sense of urgency. You're safe there, and we can just wait for the next cycle. So let me know when you're ready.
Okay.
Just phased out. Get ready. Go. Go over 1, and then immediately forward 1. Great. Take a step back. You're on the front edge. Take another step back. Half step back. Okay. And then go ahead and line up with the pillar. The pillar is the center. Oh, you rotate it a little bit.
Oh, I gotta fix
Yeah,
it.
go ahead and get your loc. Okay, nobody move. So now I'm going to try to find a pattern. I want to get Twizzer maybe to to these blues down here. And I feel confident that she's going to be able to follow basically any instructions that I give her at this point. Like, she's still getting her sea legs, she still needs to build up confidence, but she has a level of confidence that she can do it. So as long as she's listening to what I tell her and doing what I tell her, she's going to be fine. She knows the distances between rows. She can move 2 rows as I just showed. So I'm going to try to find a pattern. When you're new to being the Goggler, it can be overwhelming. You look at this just sea of tiles and you're like, oh my god, it's overwhelming. I can't, it's overload. So one of the things that you can do, and you should do, even an experienced Goggler should do, is hone in on 1 row at a time. Don't try to look at the whole thing. Just focus in on 1 row at a time. So what I'm going to do is I'm only looking at row 4 now. I want to see if there's a pattern in row 4 that'll work. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to imagine that I'm out there. I'm going to imagine that I'm out there where Twizzer is right now. And I'm going to run along with it, imagining that I'm out there. So I'm running along here. I'm imagining right where my cursor is. I'm imagining I'm out there. I'm running along. Can I find a pattern that works? Ideally, staying in 1 row is the best. Can I run along here? Okay, that one's phasing out. Is there going to be enough time for them to wait here, right back there, before I go to the next one? Yes, it's phasing out, but there is time. Okay, and then I'm running along. That one's phasing out, so I could have got him there. And then so that's sort of a stuck spot. I could move forward 1, which I probably will do, and then over, but I'd rather not move them in between rows if I don't have to. So let's see what happens if we would start where Lemuria is instead. Now remember, I can't emphasize enough, this is what they see. They're working in the dark, trusting what I tell them to do. You can't appreciate that enough as the Gogglers, that they are totally blind. Okay, so now I'm going to imagine, I wasn't crazy about row 4, now I'm going to hone in on just row 3. I'm imagining where Lemuria is, I'm moving over, that next one just phased in, so I can move over there. I'm good so far. I'm moving over here. That one's phasing out. Okay, that was too tight. So can I wait here until that next one phases back in? Yes. Then I'm running, I'm running, I'm running. Boom. So this works. Row 3 works. I don't need to look at row 2 and 1 now. I was pretty happy with row 3. So this row 3 in this instance is preferable to row 4 because I can keep them in row 3. I don't have to move them forward or backwards, that's more advanced. Moving people between rows when they're out there in the blind, that's tough. If somebody can do that, that's good. That's demonstrating a really good level of competency. And Twizzler could do it, but there's no need to. So I'm gonna keep them in row 3. Alright, Twizzler, we're going to start getting serious.
Okay.
What I'm going to do now is I'm going to work to get you toward the end, and then I'm going to let you go upstairs and get the goggles and give you, that way you'll have lots of time to look at the goggles while I'm going to continue to work with Lemuria, okay?
Okay.
But I actually want to get you in row 3. Row 4 was not, not preferable over row 3. So my first move is going to get you to where Lemuria is. So when I tell you to, you're going to come over to me, so toward the start, and then immediately forward 1 to Lemuria, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to let it cycle. I'm just going to let that one there go through a cycle just because I don't want things to be rushed. If they're on blues, there's no rush. Go over 1, and then immediately forward 1. Great. Don't rush your runner if you don't have to. Because then they get frazzled, they lose their lobe, they hit the wrong button, they fall, they die, it's over. Take your time. This is not a race. Don't move. I need to get the pattern. It's going to be over 2, and then over 1, and over 1, 2, so 2, oh no, over 2, and then 1, 1. I'm just going to write that in real quick. 2, 1, 1. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. So here's how I'm going to write it. Here's how in my guild when we're doing this. So this means go 2 tiles, dash means pause, 1 tile, dash means pause, 1 more tile, pause, and then 4. It's going to be 2, 1, 1, 4, and that'll put you on a blue. You got to be Johnny on the spot because let me see where it's a little tight. Like, you're totally going to be able to do this as long as you just stay with me. Don't move yet. So 2, 1. So it's 2, 1, 1. And then this is the tight spot. When we go 4, you can see that one's just starting to phase. And you can see I was able to get like 2, 3 tiles over before it was phased out. So it wasn't so close. Like, if that was already like in the process of phasing when that one phased, when the next one phased in, that would probably be too tight for most people. But it's just starting to phase when that one phased in. It takes a couple seconds to phase out, so I feel pretty good about that. If you're ever not sure, because there's a delay in human reaction time. There's a delay because of latency and your voice traveling a million miles over the internet to the other person. So one of the things you can do is if you ever feel like something might be too close, wait 2 seconds, and that will account for any delay. So I'll show you what I mean. So I'll run this out. Don't move yet. I'm going to do something for the video. Don't move. So it was over 2, and then over 1, and then over 1. And what I'm going to do is when the next one phases in, I'm going to wait 2 seconds. I'm going to count 1, 2, and then I'm going to go. I'm imagining I'm out there. 1, 2. Okay, it still works. So I did a 2-second count, and then I moved, and then I was still able to make the pattern work. So that 2-second buffer is going to account for any delayed reaction time or latency on the part of your runner. If during that 2 count that would have phased out, then no go. Don't even try it unless you're with a very advanced expert runner. But if you're watching this video, you're probably not. The one other thing that you can do to compensate for delayed reactions and latency, if it's tight and you feel like you don't have another good option, is you can anticipate the move. You can actually tell them to go before the next one's phased in, like a second. Like, remember I told you at the beginning of the video, these phased in and out at a regular pattern. So I think it was 10 seconds in and 3 seconds out. Let's go ahead and see. Let's look at this one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so about 12 or 13 seconds is phased in. I mean, my counting's not perfect. And then I should have counted when it was out. So it was about 3 seconds out. So it's always going to be, 12 in, 3 out, 12 in, 3 out. So knowing that, when that phases out, okay, I know that now I've got 3 seconds. 1, 2, I can say go now, and then by the time they actually do go, it will be phased in. So anticipating that it will phase in, you know that it's going to phase in 3 seconds after it phases out. You can tell them to go a split second before they actually need to go, knowing that they won't go the instant you say because of the delay in the reaction time and latency and whatnot. So anticipating and telling them to go a split second early can also be a way to be successful in a situation where it could be tight. All right, 2114, you ready?
Okay.
Twizzer only. Lemuria, you stay there, okay?
Yep.
Twizzer only, get ready. Just phased out, get ready. Go 2. 1. 1. Next one just phased out, get ready. Go 4. See, that time I said to go like a split second before she needed to. And it totally worked. Perfectly centered. Awesome. That's how it's done. I mean, she did exactly what she needed to do. So that was awesome. And you watching the video can see how that worked. It's 2.5 tiles to the end. So ideally, at this point when you get close to the end, a lot of times what you can do is just tell your runner to face the end, and when I say go, you're going to go all the way to the end. And the markers are the same over here, basically. Like you can see there's a seam there. Don't move.
Face the end?
No, don't move yet. I'm just explaining something on the video. So you can see the seam here. This is the seam for row 2. This is the seam for row 3. The beginning of that notch is row 4. And then the beginning of this notch is row 1. So those can be like if you're facing the end and you want a marker to look at, to run toward. Those are the markers that you can use. So when you're this close, and if it's a single shot, a lot of times we'll just tell the person, okay, face the end, and when I tell you to go, you're just going to run all the way to the end. Or you can just stay in strafing mode. It doesn't matter. But if it's a straight shot, then you can just have them face the end. Okay, you're going to face the end when I tell you to go. You're going to go all the way to the end. You ready?
Yes.
They're phasing out now. Get ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until that one's almost phased in. Go. All the time in the world. Don't forget to break the sarcophagus over there.
Thank you.
That's what, if you were actually doing the raid, breaking the sarcophagus over there is what makes it count so that that side is done. And you can see now it says, destroy this sarcophagi, granting the Abbot immortality, 5 left. It starts with 6. There's another sarcophagus over on that side. And so now she's going to go up the stairs there and then run along the hall above me. And there's another set of goggles down at the other end that will allow her to see the tiles phasing in and out over there. And it's going to be her job
Oh, I
to
see
lead me
Twizzler
across.
running across the second floor.
Yep, she's up there. So Twizzer, now you just go ahead and get the goggles and take all the time in the world to study that side, and I'm going to work with Lemuria, okay? And at any point, if you feel like you got something, let me know, and then, we'll go from there, okay? Just for a purpose of the video, I wanted to look at row 2, just to humor things. I'm gonna try testing out another pattern, Lemuria. So you stay right there, okay? Don't move. I'm gonna move. You stay there, okay?
Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna imagine I'm in row 2 now. I go over 1. I go over 1 more. I'm imagining I'm out there, and I'm just running along with it as they're phasing in. That worked so far. I can come down here. Oop, that one phased out. So park here. Is that gonna be able to be there long enough? Yep. Oop, that one's phased. That's a little tight there, but it works. Like, that's doable. It's tight. This one was phasing out as we were running across it. So let's do it again, just to like double check. This is how you want to, if you're the goggler, this is how you want to figure out your pattern. So it would have been 1 and 1. I'll put the dashes in later. I don't have time to do that now. And then 1, 2, 3. And then, okay, and then it would be 4 to a blue. But I'm going to run it out one more time to double check. Like, you can't be sure enough. Don't rush it. Remember what I said, it's not a race. Like, you get a whole raid counting on you to get this right. If you need to take an extra minute or two, do it. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is once I get to that 3, I'm going to wait 2 seconds and see if it works. Remember I said about, like, if it's close, then you can just like wait 2 seconds and then go, and then if you could still make it, then your runner could make it. So it's gonna be 1, 1, 3, 4. So, oops, I'm gonna wait till it cycles through. So I'm still imagining that I'm out there. Stay right there. Don't move. I'm gonna still do something for the video. There's 1, 1, and I could have just done 2. There, it's I could have just waited. 1, 2, 3. I'm imagining I'm right there. When that phases in, I'm going to do a 2 count before I go. 1, 2, and then run. Does it still work? It's tight. It's tight, but even with the 2 count, I was able to get past that tile. And I stood there for 2 seconds before I moved. So that means if there's a delay in your part of the runner, you should still be able to do it. Like that's a decent pattern. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and do it. And I'm going to consolidate these first two moves. Instead of being 1, 1, 3, 4, I'm going to go 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to wait until that second one is phased in and then say go over 2. And that way it's just one less move. Whatever works for you, whatever you want to do. If you want to take baby steps, or you want to do, 2, 3, 4, it doesn't matter. We're going to do a different pattern, and we're going to do row 2. I want you to go ahead and move forward to row 2 now. It's a blue in front of you.
So move 1 ahead?
Yep, move 1 forward to row 2. Great, you're centered. And this is the pattern. So we're going to do the mirror method now, and you're going to stay with me the whole time. And I know you've done this before. You know what to do. You're just going to stay with me the whole time. You're going to be mirroring my movements. You move when I move, you stop when I stop, okay?
Okay.
If you stay with me and do exactly what I say, you're going to do great. You ready?
Okay.
Cool. It's phasing out. Get ready. Go 2. Just phased out. Get ready. Go 3. Just phased out. Get ready. Go 4. See, it was pretty red when she was on it, but she got across it. So, like I said, I did that 2-second thing to see if it would work, and that was about where she was. She was...
Am I centered okay?
You're perfect. When she was running across that, when I did my 2-second delay, she was like right there where I was when I did the 2-second delay. So that illustrates how doing that 2 count is a really good little mechanism for compensating for
I'm assuming I'm on a blue?
Yes, you are. For compensating for delay and verifying that your pattern will work. It's 1.5 tiles to the end. Go ahead and face the end when I tell you to. Actually, no. Twizzler, are you still trying to figure out? You're still working up there, right?
I am.
Okay, then I'm going to keep moving Lemuria around. Alright, Lemuria, there is a blue tile in front of you. Remember, this is what she sees. So go ahead and move to row 1. Go ahead and move forward 1 to row 1. Okay, take a half step back, and you are centered. One of the things that I want to make sure that you realize is that you can step off the front of row 1. There is a gap between row 1 and the platform that you see in front of you that I'm standing on. And if you were to go too far forward, you would fall right off the edge. Same thing in the back of row 4. You can fall off the back of row 4. There's not an invisible wall that's going to catch you. So make sure you know that.
Okay.
Go ahead and move back to row 2 now. Great. Take a half step forward. And you're centered. Go ahead and move forward to row 1. Half step back. And you're centered. Go ahead and move back to row 2. Great. Now, I think that you know this, Lemuria, but just in case, and also for the video, these tiles are squares, so that the distance forward and backwards is the same distance from side to side. So you stay right there. I just, for illustration purposes, I want you to see that right now I'm at one edge, and now I'm at the other edge of the tile that you're on. This is one side, this is the other. If I were to move you were to move any further than this, you would go off the sides of the tile. So it's pretty wide. It's a pretty wide tile. So, like I said, I wish there were some more blues that I could just, if there was a blue like over here, I could practice moving her around. But I don't have that luxury this instant. Maybe a few blues here. It was really nice to have blues in front of each other so that in the blind, she can practice moving back and forth. I mean, that's a huge skill to develop. But you can do it on the side too, like in the beginning when I was saying, just move between the seams when when she was moving between here and there, moving back and forth and committing that distance to memory. But being able to do it out here in the dark, it just helps to reinforce that. It's a really, you're not going to find blues right next to each other between rows like this very often. You can happen, but we got a little bit lucky in that sense. Okay, what I think I'm going to do now, Lemuria, is actually start moving you back toward the beginning, just to give you some practice moving around, okay? Okay, don't move. Stay right there. And when I tell you to, I want you to move over 1 to me, and then immediately back 1, and that'll put you on a blue. So there's a blue tile diagonally back from you, in front of me on row 3. So when I tell you to, it's going to be over 1 to me, and then immediately back 1, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and let it cycle. Phasing out, get ready. Go. Great, you're perfectly centered. And you see that now, we do this raid every week in my guild. And one time, we led her across without giving her like a real formal training session. We just let her across. So she's just basically coming into this, she had no experience. You saw that now in the blind, remember, that's what she sees. In the blind, I told her to go, over to me and then back 1, and she was able to go back 1, and she nailed it perfectly. So you see, with just this little bit of practice, like, you'd come a long way. Like, her skills as a runner has already developed quite significantly just in this little bit of time. don't move. I'm going to just take a look at the puzzle. Okay, stay right there.
Yep.
You sweating yet?
No.
That's good. Because I know Twizzler is up there on the second story sweating it. So I'm just going to try to move her back toward the beginning. You would never do this in an actual situation, but for purposes of getting her comfortable moving around and practice moving her around. So we can move 3.
I have checked my loc a few times to make sure I'm not messed up.
Okay, so that one's phasing out. The next one phased in before this was all the way phased out, but it was too close. That was just too, I could tell it was just too close. Like it was already in the process of phasing out. Like watch this. It's phasing out and then it phased, the next one phased in. If that one phased in just as this one started to phase out, then I'd feel more comfortable about it. Because this one was already like in the process of phasing out, that's too tight. Yeah, that's, if you were with a very experienced runner and you had to do it, otherwise that's too tight. So let's take a look at row 2. She's in row 3 now. So I'm imagining that I'm right there right now, and I'm going to start moving backwards that way. So 1, and we want to wait until the next one phases in. In there. Oop, now the next one's phasing out. So I'm imagining I'm right there. I'm moving another 1, 2. Oh, that one's phasing out, so we'd have to park it right here. Is that one going to be phased in long enough? Yes. 1, 2, 3. That next one's phasing out. Is this one going to stay phased in long enough? Yes, but just barely. Okay, so I can take her back to this blue in row 2, and I feel pretty good about it. It's a little tight in that one spot, but I feel pretty good about it. So I didn't write down the pattern, so I'm going to write it down now. So it was good. It was 1, which just put me there, and then 1, oh, and just one more, and then 1, oh, just one more again. And then 1, 2, 3. Is it 3? Yep. And then 1, 2, 3. Okay. Don't pay any attention to that yet. I have to move you between rows. So one of the things, if you're ever moving somebody diagonally, like what I'm going to do now is I'm going to move her here. You can, they could move forward and then over 1, or over 1 and then forward. It is functionally the same. I think, it is my recommendation anyways, that you move over first and then forward. So what you do is you stand where they need to move to. That way, you're their anchor. And you tell, like, so when I say go, I'm going to say when I say go, you're going to come over 1 to me, so she'll move over until she's lined up with me, and as soon as she's lined up with me, she'll immediately move forward 1. Again, as opposed to like me being here and saying, okay, move forward 1, and then waiting for her to get there, and then me moving over. It's a preference. I'm just saying I like to move over first, and then forward. Okay, so here's the move, Lemuria. When I tell you to, you're going to move over 1 to me, and then immediately forward 1 to a blue. So all I'm doing right now is taking you back to that blue that you were on just a minute ago, okay?
Okay.
I'm going to let it cycle. Just phased out, get ready. Go. Over 1, and immediately forward 1. Great. Take a half step back. Awesome. I'm going to move her around just for a couple more minutes.
I'm not in any hurry.
Okay, we got a big pattern here. Okay, Lemuria, what we're going to be doing now is going back toward the start. So this is sort of a backwards pattern. I want to make that clear that we're moving toward the start. In an actual raid, you would never do this, but we're just practicing right now.
Okay.
So in other words, we're going this way, not toward the end. We're going back towards the start, okay?
Yeah.
So all the 1, 1, 1, 3, 3 is all, those are all movements toward the start. So that's the pattern. It's a little tight at one spot, but it's totally doable. Just stay with me, and we're going to make it happen, okay?
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to let it cycle. Just phased out, get ready. Go 1. Next one just phased out, get ready. Go 1. Next one just phased out, get ready. Go 1. Next one just phased out, get ready. Go 3. Next one just phased out, get ready. Go 3. You can see I was anticipating just a little bit. She doesn't know I'm doing that. She doesn't know that her ass almost got dropped. But that's okay. As long as she trusts me and does what I tell her to do and stays with me, all will be fine. You're on a blue. You can breathe now. Little mama,
Hold our breath,
I am
don't
going to
we?
post this video, and you're going to laugh your ass off at what just happened.
Oh boy.
Okay.
My loc is good.
Yeah, no, you did great. You did awesome. What I'm going to do now is go ahead, and there's a blue behind you in row 3. Go ahead and move backwards to row 3. Great. Don't move. So I think this is where it was 2114. So let's try. I think the 2114 was for row 3. That was when I took Twizzler across, I think. So let's just check it. So 2, 1, 1. Here, and here was there was a long pause here, and this was the tight. And 4, because that one just starts to phase out when that next one comes in. So yeah, 2114 is going to get rid of that blue. So that's the pattern we're going to use. Alright, it's going to be 2114. And that'll put you on a blue, okay?
Okay.
You got to be Johnny on the spot, but you stay with me the whole time, and you're going to be fine, alright?
All right.
Letting them cycle. Get ready. Go 2. 1. 1. This next move will be the tight move. It just phased out. Get ready. Go 4. See, again, I anticipated. I told her to go a split second before it phased in. And so again, I'm just showing you on the video. I'm talking it out so you can understand what I'm doing. That was awesome. You're a superstar.
Woohoo. Do I get a star on one of these tiles?
Oh, there's a star there. You just can't see it. You know, I was just talking, Twizzler and I were doing a round of this right before Lemuria joined us. We were in here for maybe 20 minutes or so, and she was saying like she felt like maybe goggles wasn't her forte. You know, like maybe she wasn't going to be able to get the hang of it. And she's doing awesome. You know, but she's just learning the actually leading people part, and that's a lot harder. That's what I'm saying. Like, learning, you know, getting either mastering or at least getting a solid level of competency of being led across can help you understand the sort of responsibilities or role of leading someone else across. But one of the other benefits of doing this, like if you bring your guildies or your friends in here, it's good team building exercise. Like it's really like it builds trust and a relationship between you and your guildies. So like if nothing else, like Lemuria might decide, screw this, This is way too freaking hard. I hate it. I never want to do it again. But you know what? We're bonding, and that's awesome. It's freaking awesome. I love my guild. My guildies. Okay. Alright, you ready? You ready?
Yeah.
You can go ahead and face the end, and when I tell you to, you're going to run all the way to the end.
So turn.
Yes. Now, before we do this, I want you to notice that the markers that you can sort of use to run to are the same as the other side. You see the seam there? There's a seam at row 2 and 3.
Do they match?
Yep. So all you're doing is basically, using that as your marker, your anchor, and you're going to run toward that. So that, we could have just stayed in strafing mode, but, you've probably seen us or heard us do it before. Where, like, when we're this close to the end, it's really easy. If it's just a single shot, it's really easy to just turn toward the end and just say, when I say go, you're going to go all the way to the end, okay?
Okay.
Get ready. Just waiting for that to phase in. Go. Great. That was awesome.
Woohoo!
One of the things that is a little bit, this is another...
Do I get a serving of hummus on the top of the stairs?
If you come to Detroit, I will make hummus for you. That's my promise.
Awesome.
So you can see there's a ledge there. So you got to jump up, and so
So I go.
go ahead and go upstairs
If
into the end of the.
Sarcophagus wasn't broken, I'd be breaking this sarcophagus and then going up the stairs.
Yeah, in an
correct?
actual raid, you would want to make sure you break the sarcophagus, and then you go up the stairs. You can go up there
And then go up the
and
stairs.
harass Twizzer.
Okie dokie.
So there.
I did it!
The point is, you got to jump up there.
Woohoo!
And so for people who are a little bit newer,
Nice work.
and if you don't tell them, like, there's a ledge there, they'll run into
Thank
it,
you,
and then,
Ginger.
it takes them 2 or 3 seconds
For
to
your
realize
training.
that,
Thank you.
oops, there was a ledge, then, that can be too late. And so that's probably not going to be a problem if you haven't faced the end, but if they were still strafing at this point, let's say it wasn't a straight shot, it was like a move there, and then move there, and then so they're trying to strafe into it, and they don't realize, like, there's a ledge, and they're just, like, walking into the ledge. And again, if it took them 2 seconds or 3 seconds to realize, oh, wait, I got to jump up there, or they get hung up on the ledge or something, like, they can fall. So make sure to communicate to your runner that there is a ledge there, and that they will need to jump over that. Okay, so 2, 2, 1, 3. You ready, Twizzer?
Just 1 second, please. Okay.
Okay, get ready. Go 2. 2. Yeah, it was a little bit too far. 1. 3. Great. It's going to be 1, then 2. 1, then 2. Actually, yeah, 1, then 2. You ready?
Okay.
Go 1. Too far. There you go. Well, we'll just phase out. Get ready. 2. 2.5 to the end. When I tell you to, you're just going to go all the way to the end.
Okay.
Get ready. Go. Piece of cake. See how quickly we
Great
did
job,
that?
thanks.
Okay, we're going to do the same thing, little mama. 2, 2, 1, 3. All you got to do is exactly what I tell you to, and you're going to do great. You want to stay with me the whole time once we get started?
I'm following you.
Yep. Once we get started, you're going to stay with me. You ready?
Yep.
Go 2. Go 2. Go 1. 3. Don't move. I'm just going to take a moment. You know, you're going to need a few minutes up there, right, Twizzler?
Yes.
Okay. Let's take a moment to move you around a little bit, little mama, okay?
Okay.
When I tell you to, you're going to come over to me, but then to move immediately back to where you are now. So you're going to come over one, but then back toward the start one. So you're going to end up where you're standing right now. Okay? So you're going to come over one and then back one immediately. No pause, okay?
To where you are, and then back to where I am.
And then back to where you are, right?
Okay.
So from your perspective, it'll be a right. You'll be moving to the right and then immediately back to the left.
Okay.
Just phased out. Get ready. Go. Great. You're centered. We're going to do that again when I say. Just phased out. Get ready. Go. Great. You're centered. We're going to do that one more time. Going to let it cycle. Go. Perfect. Each time you went right back to the center perfectly. Don't move. When I say, you're just going to come over 3 to me, okay?
Okay.
Ready? Go. Don't move. Perfectly centered. Don't move. When I say, you're just going to come 3 back to where I am now, okay?
Okay.
Ready? Go. Great. Don't move. We're going to do the same thing when I say. Get ready. Go. Okay, don't move. We're going to do the same thing when I say. Just phased out, get ready. Go. Don't move. We're going to do the same thing. Get ready. Go. Now we're going to try something a little bit different. Now we're going to mirror back and forth. We're going to do the same movement that you just did, but this time you're going to be mirroring me, and I'm not going to talk. I want you to move when I move and stop when I stop. I'm not going to talk, though.
Okay. You're going to say when you're going to go?
I'm going to ask if you're ready, and once you say ready, I'm not going to say anything more. We're just going to move back and forth a few times. Focusing on the visual cues. You ready?
No, hang on. Okay.
Okay, get ready. Great. You lost your loc, didn't you?
A little bit.
Go ahead and get it set up. You're on the front edge of the tile right now. Well, I mean the front third, not front edge. So this is the part, you know, learning to be led across and building up a solid competency with that is definitely what you want to, that's your foundation for then moving on to leading others across. So we're probably not going to do any of you trying to lead me across today. In fact, what I'd love to do is another session with you where I'm just leading you across, and then maybe at the end of that session or a third session we can start trying to get you to lead me across, okay?
Okay. I lost my look. Okay.
Alright, go ahead and take a step back. When I tell you to, you're just going to go all the way to the end. Get ready. Go. Great. Don't forget to jump. Good job. Well, you know, I think that's all I'm going to include in this video, and maybe I'll do like a separate video where Twizzler is trying to lead me across and
Just looking at the tiles through the goggles, that's a huge puzzle.
Yeah.
Like long.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. I'm just going to wrap up this video, and then we'll do that side, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
And so, damn, forgot what I was saying. Yeah, so I'm gonna do I think I'll do like maybe a
Okay,
separate
that's
video
very quickly.
if it seems usable for like Twizzler trying to lead me across. There is, you know, I want to show. Actually, I'm gonna record a little intro that will appear at the beginning of the video. So thanks for watching. If you have questions about my videos, you can respond on YouTube, and I hope that, you know, if you're an aspiring goggler, that you found this helpful. I know this is a really long video, but I wanted to do that on purpose so you would be able to see lots and lots of examples, not just, you know, in my other videos where I've done goggles, it was just me leading somebody across, you know, or explaining, you know, the one time. This time I moved people around a whole bunch. I talked about strategies for learning this and practicing with somebody. And so I hope that you found that helpful if you're an aspiring goggler, or maybe this inspires you to give goggles a try. And if you are on Sarlona, the High Lords of Malkir, the guild I'm in, we host Tuesday night Abbot Fest every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. It is a community event. It's open to the public. Just hit the LFM. I post it at 9 p.m. every Tuesday night. Hit the LFM. It's open to everybody. And if you've never done Abbot before and you want to learn, I'll teach you. If you've never run a raid before, I'm happy to teach you. And we've taught people how to do this raid so many times over the years. And if you routinely join us, if you join us week after week, I'll teach you how to do every one of these puzzles too. Like the first week, maybe the first week or two, we're just going to have you basically like sit out the puzzle parts. There's 3 different puzzles in this raid. But by week 3, we're going to have you learning one of the puzzles, you know. And then by maybe week 6, we're going to have you learning another one of the puzzles, you know. And so, like I said, if you want to learn the raid, if you want to learn the puzzles, join our Tuesday night Abbot Fest event. It's a lot of fun. This is a raid that is very technically challenging because there are 3 different puzzles, and there's all kinds of things that can go wrong. It's not a difficult raid from sort of a traditional difficulty standpoint. It's technically challenging. It is technically difficult because these puzzles have so much that can go wrong. But we do it every Tuesday. Like we have very smooth abbots. It's a lot of fun. So join us if you're on Sarlona, if you can make it. Thanks again for watching. You can post comments in the video, and if you're on Sarlona, you're welcome to send me a tell.